Ketchikan. What are we doing today, Mom?
We're going to
the Saxman Village.
And we're going to see some of the locals perform a dance for us and give us a little tour of the village. And I think they have a little gift center.
Of course.
And I'm not sure. We probably just browse around town.
Yep, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
We are in Ketchikan. If I didn't say that already, we're in Ketchikan today. And so far, it's looking like this is going to be the coldest, rainiest of all the stops we've had so far. It looks pretty out the window. It's so cool seeing all the little buildings right along the port and houses too. So anyway, this should be a good day.
Okay, so Prohibition, if you guys didn't know, that's when alcohol was illegal in the U.S. So what they would do is they would brew the alcohol over on Pennock Island, which is one of the islands next.
I am Haida, and I'm a part of the Eagle Beaver Frog Clan. I'm going to be your guys' main tour guide throughout your stay here in Saxman. So just a little rundown of what we're going to be doing. We're going to head up to the Beaver Clan House, where you guys are going to see some traditional dancing from the Cape Fox dancers. After that, we're going to head into the Totem Park, where I'll be explaining the meanings behind a lot of our totem poles. Then we'll be going into the Carving Center, where you guys will get a good look at how totem poles are made, the process behind them.
Okay.
So let's head up here to the Clan House.
Trees.
Lower it down.
Wow, that's right.
That's good.
the beaver, the bear. These are just a few clans we have represented here today. The next song and dance I'd like to do for you is called the Paddle Song in honor of the canoemen that paddle from village to village. Boop.
was fun. Whew. We just left the clan house where we saw the tribal dance. Now we're down in the totem pole area.
Hey folks, how we doing today?
Good, good, good. How are
All right,
you?
loving it, loving it.
This whole place here is a village.
How long has it been here?
Saxman was founded in 1894. It's named after a missionary who lived in the old Cape Box village. So we're gonna start right here. The figure on top is an eagle, and that figure on the bottom is a beaver. Now, this is an example of another house post, but it also doubles as a memorial pole, which is one of our many kinds of poles. Now, the reason this can be identified as a house post was because it showed the clans that lived in the area. We have that main clan, the eagle on the top, with the sub-clan, the beaver on the bottom. Now, here in our area, we have two primary tribes, the Tlingit and the Haida, and beneath those tribes, they have the two primary clans of the Raven and the Eagle. Beneath those, they have about 30 odd sub-clans. And you could think of those sub-clans kind of like your family's last name. So that was how we did things like track lineage as well as keep bloodlines clean, because me being an eagle, if I were to marry, what I would do is I would marry into the Raven clan. Because we have it mapped out through bloodlines, well, that's how we kept bloodlines clean, was marrying into the opposite clan. So what I would have to do is, me being an eagle, beaver, frog, I would have to marry into the Raven clan. So if any of my relatives past were a Raven, I would not be able to marry into their sub-clan either. So say if I had to marry into the Raven clan, but I can't marry a Raven beaver because my great-great-great-grandmother was a Raven beaver. So that's kind of how we do things. So if I were to marry into a different culture, someone who is not Native American, what I would have to do is, you don't have to do this, but one of the things that we do very commonly is an adoption process. So what I would do is, I would ask someone of the Raven clan to adopt my wife. And then she would then be a part of the Raven clan. This is very important because our culture is very matrilineal. So you would always take after your mother's side. So if I had children, they would be whatever their mother's clan is, and so on and so forth, just as there was with their grandmothers and great-great-great-great-great-grandmothers. So that's how we do the clan system, and that's how we have kept our bloodlines clean for generations upon generations. So that's why our clan system is very important to us. It also identifies who we are. And if we join with others, you would wear that clan on your person, like you saw with the dancers inside, and you could see who's who and who might be related to who and things like that. It's very important to us. Now, like I said, this pole also doubles as a memorial pole. And it is a part of a 3-pole set because it represents 3 brothers, 3 fishermen brothers. Now, here is the largest brother. Across the street, you can see a very similar looking pole. That was the middle brother. And directly across from that one in the empty grassy area was that smallest brother. Unfortunately, that brother fell, and it actually fell right onto the village store. We unfortunately lost that pole, but the large blank log you guys may have seen out in the parking lot. Our master carver, Nathan Jackson, will be recreating that pole for us. So we will have all 3 of our memorials for those 3 lost brothers. Practice and hone their crafts. We have some of them here today, and I would like to single out Mr. Norman Natcombe Jr., who is on my right here. Now, he is a Haida carver who has been practicing professionally for about 17 years.
Wow.
You see examples of his works on his table there, and his black portfolio, as well as business cards. He is working on this project here, as well as he made this one behind me. Now, I did say he also recreated grows wings and beak for the mystery pole that was outside. You can see the new recreation next to the old one propped up against the window. So, we have very prolific carvers who work in here with us. Now, this pole in the back here, this is a good example of what you would normally include on a pole. And if you were working with a carver on what you would want on a pole, it would have to include certain things. Now, the person who commissioned this pole, his name was Medved, which translates to bear in multiple languages. So, a bear was chosen to be put on the bottom of the pole. He loves fishing, which is why a salmon sits in the bear's claws. And his love for America, obviously, is exemplified by the eagle on the top. So you will notice all the animals included here, they come from this traditional land and they are part of our traditional values. So usually things like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, those have been attempted, but they often don't go through, at least in this Carnival Center. Now, the workspace on my left here is of Nathan Jackson, and he is who's known as a Tlingit master carver. Now, his work currently is underneath this tarp here, and that is because as we work on our poles, what they would do is they would keep it wet. So no unnecessary damage or chipping or cracking or anything like that comes to the pole. That is why the large blank log is being left outside, because it rains enough here that that log is going to stay wet no matter what. So, you'll notice it has much more of an axe-like handle. This is to get a good swing while you are working, because we use this to hollow out large things like the insides of our canoes as well as the backs of our totem poles. Now, you might be asking, why did we hollow out the backs of our totem poles? That's a good question. Well, the reason we did this was because these cedar trees are known to rot from the inside out. So that deterioration would start at the center of the tree. So we didn't usually carve all the way around anyways. Doing this process greatly elongates the lifespan of the tree, and it doesn't really infringe on the artistry that the carver puts into it. So it's a win-win. Now it also makes it a little bit lighter when we have to pick it up, but that's not what I was thinking too. Now, before we had access to the steels that we use, we believe we had access to steel just about as long as anyone else through trading. But before we had access to it, we would use things like deer antler, whale bone, beaver teeth, but very commonly it would actually be jade from a deposit that's very not too far from Juneau, and you get a very green blade like this one here. Maybe a bit more stylish than some ones you might know now, but that's just me. Now, how do the tree of life? And it is known as the tree of life because we have many uses for it. And the first of those uses is for its bark. Now, how we would do this is, we would strip off only about 1/3 from the tree. This is because taking off any more of this could actually damage, harm, and kill the tree. And we want to preserve this for future generations. We call the bentwood box, and I call it interesting because it is only made of 3 pieces, those being the bottom, the lid, and the middle 4 sides. Now those middle 4 sides start off as just a flat board of yellow cedar like this here. Now how we would make this into a box is we would notch it in 3 places, and then it would be steam bent in on itself until the 2 ends meet. Now once those 2 ends meet, we connect them using some wooden dowels and traditionally some halibut glue. Nowadays, we find that Gorilla Glue works a little bit better, but I never told you guys that. So, your finished product is going to look something just like this here. And if you look closely, you could see where those 2 ends are connected here. Now, this is all made of 1 piece of wood. And made well, this could be air and watertight, which makes it perfect for storing things like food as well as your most valued items. This process could also be used to make things like bentwood drums, which you can see one here, as well as another example of one with a design on the front in Nathan's work area.